So the other day I had an idea. I should do a character tier list. So a while back, I gathered some entries for a character tier list video that I was putting together, and you guys sent in some interesting submissions. So here you can see every single character that was entered in by you guys in my Instagram story. We've got a lot of different characters here, and some of them you'll notice look a little not animated. I thought they were funny. But with that being said, the way this is going to work is we're going to go through each character in the order they were sent to me. I'm going to talk about if there's a name for it, who submitted it, what tier they put it at, and what reason they gave for it being at that tier. And then if I feel that a correction is needed, in my opinion, I'm going to move that character higher or lower based off of information that I have or information that they have brought forward to me. So without further ado, we're going to start on our first one, which is from Pizza Time Blevins. And Sam and Max, which they are counting as one, but I have put his two separate characters because they are symbolic. What tier do they belong in and why? They belong in S tier because they are two anthropomorphic animals working as freelance police and kicking ass. And there's literally no better police officers I've seen in my life. I'm going to keep them there. I'm going to keep them at S tier. I 100% agree. Sam and Max is fantastic. So we will keep it at S tier. Our next one is White Shadow from Turbo. S tier because. Now, I'm going to bring him down to A. Thought he was funny. Wasn't good enough for me to keep him at S, but we'll keep him at A. Next is from Sweatheart, Kiryu Kazuma from the Yakuza series. S tier because he respects women, has never killed anyone, owns a chicken named Nugget, helps anyone and everyone, truly is the father who stepped up, and last but not least, Tiger Drop negates all damage. 100% agree with that. The next one is Raditz, S tier because, now, I like Raditz, but in the show, there wasn't a lot of like predetermined lore that was built in. Yes, he was, yes, Kakarot, I am your brother. That's it. He talks a little bit about Planet Vegeta and about the plans that the Saiyans have, but other than that, there's no real big story. I'm gonna put him at B. Our next entrant is Super Broly, F. He's a wussy. I disagree with that. Super Broly, I feel, is better than Z Broly, at least in my opinion. I 100% respect original Broly. The first Broly movie is fantastic. The one thing I don't like about Z Broly that I do like about Super Broly is that Super Broly has actual beef with Vegeta, and it shows. In the Z Broly series, or the Z Broly trilogy of movies, I think there's three. Yeah, there's Broly, Second Coming, and Bio Broly. Broly, at least in the first one, has beef with Goku because as infants, when they were in the nursing room together, Goku cried too much. And that made Broly psychotic. And I don't think that makes sense. Super Broly goes psycho because he has so much power coursing through his body that he physically cannot mentally keep up with it. And so it breaks him down. On top of that, Super Broly's beef with Vegeta in Super is justified because Vegeta, or Vegeta's father, is directly responsible to like literally everything bad that happened. So Super Broly is gonna go to A tier. This comes from my buddy Lynxcraft, Ilpio Park from God of High School. S tier, best character in the show. I haven't seen God of High School, so I don't know that. I'm gonna move him down to B, just because there's a lot of information missing. I've heard good things about the show, which is why it's not at C or lower, but he's gonna stay in B tier for me. This one comes from Adam, Vegeta from the Dragon Ball series, in his opinion, deserves S rank. Dragon Ball is Goku's story, while Dragon Ball Z is Vegeta's story. Vegeta's story is of trauma, humiliation, retribution, perseverance, acceptance of failure, sacrifice, acceptance of who he should be, and most of all, pride. Truly, I believe he is the greatest character in shonen anime and also has one of the greatest character arcs in all of anime. And I'll agree to that. I didn't always like Vegeta as a character, but as I watched Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super and I read the mangas, I completely agree with it. This one comes from Care Bear Cause, Ember McLean from Danny Phantom, A tier. She's tragic, genuinely powerful, makes multiple recurring appearances in the series, and is one of those iconic childhood crush characters up there with Thorn from the Hex Girls or Dark Bloom from the Winx series. Only downside is that they got a different voice actor for the singing roles when they had Tara Strong. I'll agree with that. I didn't watch a lot of Danny Phantom. I saw an episode with her in it, and I will agree. Definitely an iconic like goth childhood crush. And I'll keep her at A tier. This one comes from SF Kunk. Hank Hill from King of the Hill, S+ top tier, or whatever the equivalent is in his words. He reminds me of my father, is from the same area of Texas, is from Texas period, and whose show has Japanese fans to the extent they fight over whether the dub or sub is better. I'm gonna agree with S tier just because of the sub or dub argument. That shit's hilarious. King of the Hill makes Japanese people fanboy or fangirl like anime makes American people do it. It's hilarious. Another one from SF Kunk, Son Goku and Piccolo, and his reason is, you already know my boy, and I know you want them S tier, that's where they're staying. Goku's my favorite character of all time. Piccolo is Akira Toriyama's favorite, and so putting respect on his name, we're gonna go ahead and throw him in S tier. He also is finally getting the recognition he reserves in Dragon Ball Superhero, so phenomenal. Next entry is also from SF Kunk, Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! The toppest of the top. Why? It's time to duel. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen much, if any, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm gonna move him down to B tier just because I don't like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game as much as I like, say, Pokemon or Magic the Gathering. But I do understand that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an iconic show. That's why it's staying B tier. This next entrant is Kai, Scaramouche from Genshin Impact, S tier or highest tier, because his story, character arc, and design are all amazing, and he's my cutie patootie. This is where I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I despise Genshin Impact, so that's going to redacted. I don't think I need to explain myself. This next one comes from Clay, Joseph Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2 Battle Tendency. Highest tier possible because he came up with the secret Joestar technique and he's funny. I'll agree, he's funny. His technique is cool. I don't think he deserves S tier. In Part 2, he's phenomenal. I'll give you that. But as his character grows into Part 3, I think his character goes a little off the edge. It gets a little weird. I'm going to put him at A tier just because of that. But A tier is still very respectable. Our next one is an anonymous submission. Walter White from My Little Pony. And in parentheses next to that, it says, not clickbait, he's there, which is what led me to look up this photo of him. They ranked him at S because Horsenberg. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like My Little Pony, but I love Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's a very interesting show. It's got a very good story. I thought it was overhyped. It wasn't. It's fantastic. We're going to put it at C tier because I don't like My Little Pony, but I don't hate Breaking Bad. This next entrant is V-Smog with Noriaki Kakyoin from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. S tier for their story and design. I love Kakyoin. Hierophant Green is amazing. I love it. Part 3 is my favorite part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in its entirety. So we're going to keep Kakyoin at S tier. This next is MX Jellyfish, who sent in Tanjiro Kamado from Demon Slayer. S tier, definition of the word protagonist. Good boy who makes me cry. Because I'm going to piss a lot of other people off too. Put Tanjiro at A tier. This next one comes from my younger sibling. They sent in Crispin, class of 09. D tier. He is so annoying and tries to be deep and philosophical, and it makes him look stupid and ugly. He makes the flesh melt off my face whenever I see him on screen, and I hate his surfer boy wannabe ass voice like, bro, this is set in Virginia. Bro puts the virgin in Virginia with his micro penis, which in parentheses is confirmed in the game. I hate his face and voice. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No, thank you for your entrant, because guess what? Not only am I going to put him lower, I'm going to put Crispin at redacted, because I hate him too. This next one comes from Random Pickle. Sung Jin Woo from Solo Leveling. S tier, gains power extremely quickly, and gains more and more power throughout the series. Extremely great character development, and has some of the best lines of dialogue I've ever heard in anime, wonderfully delivered by Alex Lee, an amazing voice actor. I'll agree, I've seen very few bits and pieces of Solo Leveling. I think the show is phenomenal. I do have a problem with how fast he gets strong. And I know there are some plot devices for it, but it still irks me. It rubs me the wrong way, like oh, this is my OC. They have this special power. and they didn't have to work for it at all. Now, I understand he worked for it, but he still gains power a little quickly. I'm going to move him to B tier. Still a phenomenal anime. This is another anonymous entry, but I know exactly who sent it in because I agree with this person. Stanford Pines, Gravity Falls, S tier. Not only is this man super smart and nerdy, he's so fine. He does have his downsides, like not being able to put petty things like grammar aside, when the world is in danger especially, but he does end up being nothing short of a loving grunkle and a supporting brother. Also, I will oil that man up if it's the last thing I do. Gravity Falls is one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm going to be getting a tattoo themed around Gravity Falls. And when Stanford was introduced into the show, my jaw was on the floor. It was so good. He's staying S tier for me. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Our next submission is Muhammad from South Park, B tier. I'm going to leave him at B tier. That episode was hilarious. But I know that episode specifically got a lot of backlash and they had to censor it. Or not censor it, they redid the episode, and instead of having Muhammad shown and depicted, which is very against its culture, they put him in a bear mascot suit, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. He's gonna stay B tier. This next one is another anonymous entry. Aaron Yeager, S tier, total Chad, kind-hearted person. And here's where I piss a lot of other people off. Attack on Titan was ruined. For me, it was overhyped. F tier. And the next one I know for a fact is another anonymous entry for Mikasa from Attack on Titan. F tier, fuck that hoe, it's on site. We're keeping Mikasa down there too. Pissmaster from Rick and Morty, another anonymous entry. F tier, lost in a fight with Jerry. I'm going to bring him up to D because that episode's hilarious, but he is still a very character. Another anonymous entry, Z Broly, S tier, he's him. I already went over this. Super Broly is way better. I'm gonna put Z Broly at B tier. B tier. I feel like that's a safe compromise to make. This one is another anonymous entry. Desmond from Smiling Friends. A tier, he gives good back shots. I can't say I agree with the reason, but that episode was hilarious. If you haven't seen Smiling Friends, by the way, check it out. It's awesome. I don't know who in their right mind who has access to the show hasn't watched it yet. But Desmond is staying in A tier for me. Saitama from One Punch Man, another anonymous entry. F tier, Yamcha level weakness. I disagree. We're gonna bring him up to C tier because C stands for comedy, and it's a comedy anime, and I love it. But it's not my all-time favorite. It's a very middle of the road thing for me. I enjoy watching it. I can smooth brain watch it while I'm doing other things. Staying C tier. This next one comes from Miko. Sans from Undertale. B tier, capable of manipulating quantum game mechanics or physics to battle enemies. Also, it's a very similar situation to Attack on Titan. I was a freshman in high school when this game came out, and I hung out with a lot of band kids who were nerdy like me. And all of them liked Undertale, and they all overhyped it for me. And when I played it, I didn't get the same charm. And so, Sans, I respect the character, but he's going to D tier. He's not going to be F or redacted tier. He's going to go D tier. Another entry from Miko. Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's, C tier. Scary Bear. I'll agree to that. There are different characters from Five Nights at Freddy's I like a lot more, like Springtrap or Mike Afton, but it's just Five Nights at Freddy's. It's the original Freddy. He's staying C tier. Guilok Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, another anonymous entry. S tier, reason being my GOAT. I am not leaving him at S tier. I've never seen Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, but just based off of his design alone, homie's getting D tier. Another entry from Sweatheart. Cheeton, Japanese crazy mascot. S tier, he performs mud shows, does Japanese professional wrestling, and is friend to all. Cheeton staying in S tier because I've seen a video of someone in a Cheeton mascot suit playing the drums, and they just go off. It's super calm for a few seconds, and they just blast away, and it's hilarious. It's one of my favorite videos on the internet. Another entry from Sweatheart. Sheen from hit show Jimmy Neutron. U for Ultralord. He's staying in S tier. He deserves U for Ultralord. He's hilarious. He's an iconic character. He's up there with Carl Weezer. But I don't have a U for Ultralord on the tier list. I could have added one, but it defeats the point. He'd be the only one in it, which I feel like is the point, but defeats the point of the rest of the tier list. So he's staying S tier. Our next one is from Annie. She sent in Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball Z. F tier. Only good thing she did was have kids, and even that was sketchy. I'm gonna bring her up. D tier. Goku's wife. Put a little respect on her name. She does have some anger issues. Not gonna lie. But D tier character. Another Annie entry. Hal from Howl's Moving Castle. A tier. S for everything about him, but he's down to A because he's a whiny emo. I'll agree. I'll agree to that. I haven't seen much of Howl's Moving Castle, but I know it's iconic, and the bits I have seen are phenomenal. The art style is really good. Sound design is phenomenal. Calcifer is one of my favorite character designs of all time. Howl's Moving Castle is just great, so A tier for Howl. Annie sent in another one, Raven, and she has eye emojis. If you know, you know. Raven staying S tier. I have a type, all right? Put it that way. Moving on. Another Annie entry, Chowder from Cartoon Network. F, so fucking annoying. Chowder holds a special place in my heart. He's getting C tier because I grew up watching him when I became an adult and I started rewatching shows that I watched as a kid. Not gonna lie, it was stupid, but he gets C tier. He's not F tier, at least in my book. Annie with another entry, Mystery Incorporated gang, specifically the Mystery Incorporated show version. A tier, one of the best adaptations of them, but kept the issue of Fred being Dum Dum Trap Man. I'll agree. When we're talking about Scooby-Doo, the original Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo is just so peak. Mystery Incorporated, if we're talking interpretations, would have been S tier. If we're going based off interpretations of the characters alone. But because it is of all, like, animated characters of all time, and Hanna-Barbera is not excluded from it, it is going to stay A tier for me. And our last submission, coming from Care Bear Cosplay, Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender. S tier. Girl literally has it all. She's smart, powerful, a terrifying antagonist, even more than her father, and she had little 7-year-old me questioning my sexuality. The depth of her character is unmatched, especially when you dive into the epilogue comics, which if you haven't, you should. From princess to Fire Lord to prisoner to runaway, she's such a broken character, and it's clear as day, but that doesn't make you forgive her when you learn about it. It may add some context, but not justification. I'm gonna agree. One of the things that I wholeheartedly believe in, as far as like voice acting and character development goes, is that Juno is scratching herself. You know a voice actor and a show have done their writing and acting correctly when you have a character who is a villain and they're not hated because the acting's bad or the show's bad or the character's just bad, but when the character just does their job of being a villain, and that makes just so many people despise that character in the story and see them as an actual villain. Azula was one of the first characters that I saw, and I was like, she's just a psycho, a power-hungry psycho that wants nothing more than to scorched earth the entire thing and make it in her own image. And I think it's really good that characters have the ability to do that through their voice actors and through story writing, and so Azula will be staying S tier for me as well. And that is the last of our normal entries. We now have wild cards. So wild cards are ones that I did not have sent in through the submission system. I had them messaged to me. The first one is from a really cool friend of mine named Morgan. He is a photographer that I met at Anime Corpus Christi and Corpus Christi Comic Con, and he has just been a phenomenal person to be around, and I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he's having a phenomenal time right now, and I hope when he sees this, he's happy. But he has sent in Roger Smith, the protagonist of The Big O. First reason, his complex characterization. Roger's not just a negotiator, he embodies a noir detective archetype with a philosophical twist. His stoic demeanor, moral code, and subtle vulnerability make him a multi-dimensional character that resonates with fans of layered storytelling. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Number 2, aesthetic and style. From his sharp suits to his suave charisma, Roger exudes a timeless cool that makes him unforgettable. He channels the essence of classic noir heroes like Bruce Wayne or Rick Deckard while adding his own unique flair. Also agree with it. Thematic depth. The Big O deals with memory, identity, and humanity in a dystopian world. Roger's journey often reflects these themes, particularly his struggles with morality in a world full of ethical ambiguity. This makes him relatable and thought-provoking. It did. Before he sent me this, I hadn't seen an episode of this, or I hadn't seen any of this. not episode. God, I've seen so many TikTok shorts. But the Big O is phenomenal. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. On to number 4, the Big O itself. Piloting the Big O mecha elevates Roger's hero status. The mech is a symbol of his responsibility and the show's overarching mystery, making him both a physical and intellectual force to be reckoned with. Number 5, his voice acting and presentation. The iconic voice work of Steve Blum in the English dub gave Roger Smith an unforgettable edge, cementing his legacy in anime history. 100% agree. 110% agree. And then the cultural impact. Roger and the Big O have a niche but devoted fan base. His character stands out in anime as a unique mix of Western noir and Japanese mecha influences, appealing to fans of both genres. Roger's ability to navigate complex emotional landscapes, his thematic significance, and his undeniable style solidify him as an S tier. And I'm gonna take that. That is staying S tier. I have some Instagram message entries. Our first one being sent in by MX Jellyfish. MX Jellyfish has sent in Jace Talus from Arcane. Tier C, reason, JB. JB not. I'm gonna upgrade him. I'm gonna upgrade him to B. I like Jace a lot. I like his character. I like his story. I like his hands-on kind of job that he had before he was a counselor in season 1. I haven't seen season 2 yet, so I don't know how his character pans out or fleshes itself out in season 2. But I have high hopes. Whenever I do see season 2, I'm sure I won't be disappointed. Until then, though, he will be staying B tier for me. The next one, we're gonna get a little divisive here. It's this A tier right here that I know all of y'all see. 1977 Chevy C70. A tier, designed so good that it wasn't changed for like 17 plus years and being licensed under 2 separate names. Shortened, Funny Truck Go Burr. Stay in A tier. C70 can stay right where it is. It's not the best truck, definitely not the worst. And our last, but definitely not least entry comes from a, where did it go? I didn't upload the image. Either way, we ball. The Creeper from the Batman animated series was sent in by Kit Noel. F rank in my book because he is weird and creepy. I will 100% agree with that. Creeper belongs in F tier. I wish I didn't forget the photo, but we'll figure it out. But that is my corrections. Before I corrected it, it was really top heavy. It's still really top heavy, but we definitely have a more even balance. And I know for a fact, this is going to piss some of you guys off. For a fact, it's going to piss some of you guys off. But with that being said, that is my list of the characters that were sent in. And I'll leave it up to future me to do the outro. So that way y'all can see the announcements and stuff that I have. So I'll see you there.
All I know is uphill battles. I travel. I'm no hired gun. I used to be cracked like marble. Now I stand taller, close to the sun. 'Cause
Hey guys, thank you so much for making it this far in the video. Now that you're here, I'd like to make a huge announcement. I am officially partnering with the Gulf Coast Humane Society to bring you Texicans Do It for the Dog fundraiser. Founded on January 15th, 1945, the Gulf Coast Humane Society has been on a mission to provide shelter and care for homeless animals through adoption, fostering, community partnerships, and affordable medical procedures. In striving to accomplish this mission, they aim to create a community where animals are treated with the respect and compassion they deserve. In their mission to save as many lives as possible, they've been able to provide for around 3,000 dogs and cats every year, and with your help, whether that be a donation or an adoption, you can help change the lives of animals by providing them with the help and care that they need. My goal with the Do It for the Dog fundraiser is to band together as a community and raise money for the animals in need down here in the Coastal Bend area. With your help, food, toys, and medical care can be provided for animals that have nowhere to go this holiday season. Starting today, December 13th, until the end of January 2025, I will be donating 100% of the money I make on Twitch, and any money raised on my Ko-Fi page will also be donated to the GCHS. If you would like to donate to the Do It for the Dog fundraiser, go check out my Ko-Fi page in the link below, where $5 can get you access to a variety of photos I've taken at the GCHS, or where you could leave a message and donate to me, telling me that you've donated for the fundraiser. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and I really hope that we can raise a lot of money for the GCHS. You guys have a wonderful rest of your month, and I will see you guys in January 2025.
drop in the bucket. Got the strings off the puppet. Want a serpent, I slay it. Keep the